Hey, do you know what time it is? That's right. It's time for Coach Lindy's podcast. The podcast to get you moving. Hi, I'm Lindy Hutchinson, a certified life mastery consultant with the Brave Thinking Institute. As a life coach, I help others transform their life as I have mine. It's not easy, but it is possible, and it most certainly is worth it. Each week, I'll share insights that inform, inspire, and ignite in you your desire to create a life that you love. So let's find out what's going on this week. So welcome to the podcast once again with Coach Lindy. Today we're going to tackle a very deeply, very religious, very spiritual book called, where's my picture? The Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross. It was written in 1577, so it's been around for a little while. The Dark Night of the Soul. So an overview, St. John of the Cross presents for us a portrait painted from his own experience of someone who advances successfully in his struggles in his spiritual life. He describes not abandonment by God, but actually a special consideration of God for those who desire to purify and perfect their souls. By accepting the desolation and difficulty of this process, the soul cooperates with God and opens itself to receiving and revealing more perfectly God's glory. So we'll get some background on St. John. He composed this work, which is described as theological and mystical, and it's a journey toward union with God. And he wrote this while he is in prison, fun times, in 1577. And he uses a poetic and theological language to describe what he breaks down into three different stages: the point of departure, the means, and the point of arrival. And this is someone who's going through a deep, dark period in their life. Now, why was he in prison? Well, it said that in the 1570s, he joined a group that crusaded against the church because they viewed that it had been corrupted. This was not a real popular move. The inspirational poem that he wrote, The Dark Night of the Soul, depicts the triumph of the soul at the terrifying moment of darkness of doubt, which he calls the night. Then the dark night of the soul signifies the moments of the soul's deepest and most painful tribulation. So he was in prison after letting the church know that they weren't too happy about some of the stuff that was going on, and he went into a very dark period. So a little background on St. John. He was born in Spain in 1542 in a small town. He was his dad was a respected merchant, and they had a large family, and apparently they were very happy until John, when he was 10, his dad died, and things got pretty tough financially for the family. During the next several years, he found comfort in the Catholic Church, and by the time he got into high school, he had read and studied a great deal of Catholicism and its philosophy. Since he wasn't able to find work and he had this powerful draw for the spiritual and religious things, he joined the Jesuit college and he studied theology, which was a good fit. Now he wanted to expand his spiritual quest. And instead of being a parish priest, he joined in 1563 the Order of the Virgin Mary of Mount Carmel. And it was a strict priestly sect with meditation and many disciplines. In 1565, he began a decade of missionary work throughout Spain, and he started preaching his message of uncompromising reform. Well, this garnered the attention of the church, and they weren't too happy about that, so he was put under house arrest. For nearly a year, John was chained in a tiny, windowless room, humiliated and tortured daily, deprived of food and water. And this is when he wrote The Dark Night of the Soul, which makes sense. So he was going through a tough time. The next year, in 1578, he escaped and he returned to his missionary work, and he ended up being involved in the establishment of 20 new monasteries. And he was busy in his work, feeling very successful and happy. And he wrote Volume 2, a commentary on the Dark Night, about how the soul finds God. Unfortunately, there were people who weren't real happy about him being happy and doing so well. So his last few years were spent in seclusion. And then he died in Spain in 1591. He was canonized by the Roman Catholic Church in 1726, recognizing his work and his journey in connecting with God. And his work affected millions and millions of people. And having been written in 1577, it's stood the test of time. It is a very moving work, and probably if someone is going through a difficult time, it's probably very consoling and healing, and you can relate to what he was going through. So that is our book, The Dark Night of the Soul, printed in 1577 by John of the Cross, St. John of the Cross. Our power word for the week is darkness. Your train your brain thought for the week is you can power through darkness into restorative light, which is what John did. And from our Hey, That's Funny file, the ever hilarious late great Phyllis Diller said, "I never made Who's Who, but I am featured in What's That?" Oh, Phyllis Diller, we'll need you forever. So that's it for this week. Thank you for joining me. Keep building your dreams and creating a life that you love because you deserve it. We'll see you next time, and take care until next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to being with you every week. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please email me at coachlindy@lindyhutchinson.com. My name is spelled Lyndi, so it's Coach Lindy, Lyndi, at Lindy Hutchinson, LYNDIHUTCHINSON.com. I value what your input is, and I'm always open for suggestions and ideas. If you will like and or subscribe to this podcast, that would be wonderful. I appreciate it. And I enjoy anything that you might want to send in, or if you would like some more information about coaching, send me an email and I will get back with you, and we'll talk about how you can create your best life. Have a good week. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.